Coming to you from UBN Studios in Burbank, California. You're listening to the Unsugar-Coated Podcast with your hosts, Aalia and Alex and Alexandra Checa.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
How are you today? This is Aalia.
This is Alexandra.
And we're coming at you Unsugar-Coated today. Oh, my goodness. So, Alexandra, did you watch the Super Bowl yesterday?
I did.
And
I did.
how
And
did you
one
enjoy
of the we have to talk about two things.
Yes.
Beyonce and Jay-Z. And two, J-Lo and Shakira. Who did it best? I have my own opinions, but we'll get to that.
I don't know. I enjoyed the show. I guess I just didn't even think, I wasn't even comparing the two. They're both great artists in their who did they? I don't know, because to me, when you have an artist and a performance, they're gonna vary, and but I thought they both did amazing.
They killed it. And I love J-Lo more than I love Eric. But Shakira took it. Shakira took it.
But what I think some people are missing is, they're not the young, everyone is, we talk about, youth obsessed world that we live in. These are both women that are quote unquote 40s. Older women. I know that, I know that, Shakira is not that far away from my age. So, we're in that same age bracket.
43, 44.
Yeah, exactly. So, quote unquote older women kicking ass on a stage. I think it's amazing. I think it's setting a whole new precedent.
It's great. It was just such a good comeback of Shakira. I don't quite understand the tongue thing, but
I do.
It was a great thing.
Because you're not Middle Eastern. That's why you didn't get it.
I'm not Middle Eastern.
I was laughing when I saw the comments, and then you had all the Arabs who were like explaining, well, this is a typical Lebanese, like I actually.
Oh, is that what she was doing?
That's what she was doing. It's a very common part of performance. Look, I understand she's Colombian, but she is half Lebanese. Her dad was a jeweler from Beirut. There's a reason why her music and her personality are infused multiculturally. We relate to that being multicultural, and so. That's just part of what goes down in the Arab culture. So I thought that, but I thought they were powerful performances.
Crazy.
They looked sexy. I hate it. I heard one person that had said, "Oh, Shakira gained weight and got fat." I was like, You know what? You're stupid. You're probably
you're stupid. And you're ugly too. Get out of my party.
Yeah, I'm like, what? No, I genuinely, I think that people should. Look, part of our desire here to have these conversations again is to remind people. I think one of the most exciting things to do in this space is to help other people want to be the best versions of them they can be, and how we talk about other people and how we talk about things is an important piece to that.
Absolutely.
So lead into number 2.
So during the national anthem, our Queen Bee and JC were sitting down. So what's up with that?
Well, I want to ask you what your thoughts are on that in general. And look, this is not a political show. If anything, this is when it comes to politics, we're really, really, really bipartisan. And this is a sensitive subject. Now, I was a little bit nervous to bring it up, but hey,
who cares?
I'm either going to piss people off or I'm going to make other people say, well, that's a different perspective and maybe I should consider that.
In my opinion, just because... Listen, I wasn't born here, and I have nothing but love and respect for this country, for everything that has done for me. So I do think it's very, very inappropriate and very disrespectful.
To not stand for the national anthem.
That's just me, though.
Sure.
I'm also not black. I don't know their struggle,
You know what, though? I will say this, and not... mainly because we like to have conversations where we're posing more than one perspective inside, right? And... there are people that I know that sat long before Kaepernick took a kneel. And I'm actually speaking about myself. I have been sitting for the national anthem since I was in my 20s. But I'm going to tell you why before people judge me.
I'm not judging you.
It wasn't that I don't love my country. I'm born here. Somebody who wants to say to me, go back to your country, can kiss my butt because I'm from this country. Okay? It wasn't that I don't love the people that are in it, but I still hold the leaders of this country accountable for a lot of things. And when I sat, it was because I'm supposed to stand here and pledge myself and my heart to a flag of the United States of America when I know that this government does not always take care of everybody it should. Okay. It was more to me a feeling of like, I love my country, but we could do better. And I'm disappointed. So I don't want to be part of the hoopla that creates this because the flag, to me, the whole pledging allegiance to the flag is not the issue. It's what's happening within our communities, and it's been happening for a very long time. In my youth, though it's not like I did struggle, and I had things that happened. Not all of those things were related to my race or, my ethnicity, but I saw other people go through it. And I will say that I just didn't think it was right to see people that I knew speak kindly about one person because they were white, but then speak so negatively about another person because they were a different color. I didn't like it. I didn't like the disparity in our country. And for me, sitting was just that little bit of kind of like a kid saying, I'm not happy with this and I'm just going to sit it out.
Right.
Waiting for my country to do better, though.
Waiting
That's the
for
thing.
improvement.
Waiting for improvement.
Yeah.
And that is the one thing that I, for like we've said, we're not a political. I want to see this country work together. To me, that is the most important thing. I get really tired of the Democrats, the Republicans, everyone putting everyone in baskets, and it's them versus us.
Yeah.
I hate that. It's not them versus us.
That's the world
it's
that we live in,
guys.
though.
It's we. And the sooner that we understand that, then maybe we can all stand together and pledge that flag. But let's be real about it, and let's be real about the things that happen to our country. Because I live in good neighborhoods, and my kids have had opportunities because they've had the opportunity to go to good schools. But I see what happens in other communities, and I just won't sugarcoat it and be like, no, that's not really happening. It is. And until those things are fixed and everybody is taking care of everybody, I don't mean to get on a soapbox, then, yeah, I'm sitting it out. So let's move forward to that. Okay, now everyone knows, and I hope people don't, hate me. I'm sorry.
shouldn't.
I'm just going to be authentic and honest.
Freedom
And
of
if you
speech,
don't like it,
guys.
exactly, that does not mean that I would hinder someone standing next to me. It's just my own personal. It's no differently than I don't take the flu vaccine. It's my personal choice, and I'm allowed to.
Yeah.
So when you see everybody losing their mind because Beyonce and Jay-Z didn't stand for the anthem, the one thing is, it's like I would just still argue it's still their right to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's okay that we don't, I want you to.
No, I don't. I mean, look, I'm not the type of person who, like, if you say this, like, if you like Donald Trump, I'm not going to unfriend you on Facebook, on Instagram. I'm not going to block you. I don't care.
Right.
Like, I'm not crazy like that. And I know people that have done that to me
Same.
for other reasons, not even for political reasons, but because I said, men are this or like women are this or like, oh, no, that's not right. Unfollow you.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So
Patience.
I can't really talk about anything that I believe in. But also I feel like,
Oh, but you bring up a good point.
What?
You can't even feel that you can talk about
I
the
can't.
things you want to talk about. And it has to
can't.
go both ways, though. I hear that a lot. I agree. Both sides are struggling to be heard, and nobody's listening to each other.
yeah, it's a lot of identities.
It is. And I'm wondering how it's going to, this is only, and we know that our tapes, our episodes get released a little bit out. Well, by the time this airs, it will have seen whatever it's going to see.
Yeah.
But I just heard about it on the news. It just happened yesterday. So I am curious to see it. And I wasn't really looking for an opportunity to share that because,
Just
but
came to us.
I feel like some things are just serendipitous. So,
Absolutely.
you know what? But I'm excited about our guest today.
I'm excited too. Tell us who she is, please.
So, one of Hollywood's hidden gems, she isn't letting Little Rub stop her from running this town. Cinematcher's founder and CEO, Lauren Magura, had her dream job at NBC Universal and a steady paycheck, but she ditched that to pursue her dream of running the show. Then she launched an on-demand digital platform that has transformed the hiring process in the film industry and become an expert in raising capital. But life would be so boring if she just stopped there. Leading business strategy for Company X Marketing, an experiential agency owned by Elijah Wood's film and TV and video game production house, she assists in business ventures and is the on-set producer for the newly released Shudder podcast Visitations, hosted by Daniel Noah and Elijah Wood. Thank you so much for being here, Lauren Magura.
Thanks for having me. I'm really, really excited. Especially, we go way back. I think we're going to talk about women empowerment a little bit. But we actually had met through, I think wanting to empower each other and seeing what one another was doing in their lives. And yeah, I'm excited. Thanks for having me.
No, thank you so much. I know that you are, one of the reasons we have you on today is you are passionate about advising female-owned startups. I feel that you represent the female capable of anything she puts her mind to, and outside of just, yes, you launched an app and I want you to talk about that, but you do more than that. You and I, you were a panel speaker for my event in PowerCon at the Los Angeles Convention Center. We shared the stage with David Uslan, who is now getting all these awards as one of the EPs and creator of Joker. So a lot of Michael Uslan.
Yes.
And what did I say? His son's name? David. I said, sorry, David. I meant his dad. So we're friends with the family. But you do so much. So thank you for being here, and share with us how a Jersey girl ended up in LA.
Funny story. So, I mean, it's a wild ride, and I think I kind of always knew that I was going to end up in the entertainment industry, and I always kind of knew I wanted to end up in California. When I started out at NBC, I always knew I wanted to be in film, so then I transitioned into Universal Pictures, and then once I was there, having worked with people on the West Coast, even though we were on the East Coast, I still had that connection to the West Coast, and the entertainment industry is just here, and so. Total roller coaster journey, entrepreneurship, making mistakes, all these things, still making mistakes, still learning every day. But which is, I think how you become successful is just making mistakes and then failing upwards. And so when I was over on the East Coast, it was to a point where I was fundraising for my app and I wasn't really getting anywhere and people weren't really getting it. And I think the entertainment industry isn't as heavy in New York as it is here. And I had come here a few times, and it didn't matter where I was, eating lunch or anything. It's an industry person you're talking to or sitting next to or whatever. And so this was just the place I needed to be to really gauge what our app was doing and not doing, get feedback from people, network at events, and really see if what we're building is worth it. Because I think it's really important to, like, as an entrepreneur, to know when to hold them, know when to fold them, right? Or know when to pivot. Yes. And so it was a pivotal moment for me that we had just launched our beta. We had gotten a few angel investors, and we launched our beta app, and then we tested the market for about a year, and then we really wanted to build 2.0, but I wanted to make sure we were building the right thing. We're not wasting anybody's time and money. And so it was really important for me to be here and network with everybody that would be using it, just to make sure as we're going, I'm not, building something that is not going to be helpful, because this industry is always changing.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? And, like, if I'm not in the know of what's going on, it's difficult to build something that will be super helpful. Sure. So I needed to be in the know, and I think obviously LA is the entertainment capital.
Yeah, you said something, that's so you had this dream job at NBC Universal, and then
Absolute
something said, and then you saw a need.
Yeah.
You saw a need. Yep. And instead of saying, I'm going to stay over here with this guaranteed paycheck, I think I can fill this need. Tell me about that step for you.
So tough, because one of my dream companies was Universal Pictures, and even actually my old boss there, he's fabulous. He's awesome and has been so supportive along the way. I'll talk about that later if we get to it. But when I first worked there, he gave me like a DVD. I think it was a DVD or a link. I don't even remember. It was like kind of long ago, but and it was of all the films like that Universal had done and the history of it and everything. And I grew up watching Back to the Future and Jurassic and like all these like epic films that meant so much to me, and so I almost got teary-eyed when I first started working there, and I watched that like as an orientation type thing, right. And I honestly thought that was it. Like I was like, this is my career. I'm gonna like just work my way up as much as I can. And I loved the company. Everybody's there so great. I was there when Donna Langley, and she still is, is heading the studio, which is a powerful female. I was also there for a record-breaking year for them, which was really phenomenal to see, these strong women running. We also had some really amazing, supportive, strong men running it too. But so, it was really tough leaving something that you thought was your dream and the paycheck. I mean, the 401k, which, by the way, I ended up taking out as seed money for Cinematcher.
Right.
I mean, that was tough. You're like, am I doing the right thing? Like, it wasn't, because I was only there for a few years. I wasn't there for 15, 20 years or something.
Right, because you're relatively young. That's the thing I want to like let our audience know. How old are you now?
I just turned 30 in July.
And when you started this, when you left Universal, how old were you?
So this was 2016. So
you were, like,
4 years
26,
ago. So I was like,
26.
Yeah.
Somewhere in there. Like, so 25, 26, that's a bold time to be leaving. But you know what, though? That's also, like you said, I mean, it's scary, but you're still kind of, I mean, hopefully you're still able to recover. Worst case scenario, because you win, you lose in business.
Right.
Like I've lost tens of thousands of dollars.
Oh, 100%. Of
Made
what I put
millions,
into the company.
But I would never lie and say that in that process there were not
never.
some huge, oh my God, you know,
downfalls and failures. And I mean, you make mistakes. You can't.
Right.
The biggest thing in success, I think, is to know that you're going to make mistakes and that you have to learn from those mistakes and be okay with making those mistakes. Because it can become a very stressful and depressing thing to be an entrepreneur if you are always beating yourself up and, it can go down a dark path.
Sure.
And so taking those mistakes and
what's awesome is that a lot more women are doing that these days. According to an article in Forbes, in 2019, a record amount of venture capital, $17.2 billion, has been raised by female-founded startups in the U.S.
Amazing.
This same article predicts that, however, the 2020s will see accelerated progress as investors see even more proof that investing in women brings stellar returns.
Yep.
You guys also have the ability to capture market opportunities that are worth billions. We do know that as we just had on our other last episode, beauty and expert, multiple billion-dollar industry. Who better than knows beauty and things than women? I mean, I know guys, you like to be cute too, but let's just come on, let us stay in our lane, right? Give it all to us, okay? Also, according to this particular study or article, Black and Latinx women face the most significant challenges in raising venture capital. And I want you to speak on that because one of the things, as a woman, you and I have had those conversations. I'm a business owner and I've started entrepreneur with my own cash.
Yep.
It's very different, and now that I'm part of the film world, and yes, I understand going and asking somebody, hey, will you write me $1 million check, please?
Right.
It's not so easy.
Right.
And that pressure. So you're a woman who's gone into the Silicon Valley offices and had to pitch your project. Tell me how that experience is for you.
This is a major, I think, those numbers sound so awesome, but there's so much work that needs to be done. As a female, I mean, I have horror stories about male investors, not especially all. Like, I never had a bad, actually, female investor experience. There's a lot of issues and struggles where I've had going into a room, with a male counterpart, business partner, and the guy is just directly talking to the guy, and is like, "You're the CEO, right?" And I'm like, "Oh no, I'm the CEO." Like,
right.
Hi, I'm Lauren. Explain everything. They're like, "Well, why?" Like,
it's like Dr. Strange.
I've had investors tell me I need to lose weight.
Oh wow.
To get investment. I mean, come on. And then I've walked into meetings completely dressed up, and then male counterpart, like maybe
comes
like in
talking about the Laker game,
sweats or something, and they are commenting on like that I'm not wearing enough jewelry or something, and I'm like, this guy's in sweats, and they're like bros.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? It's I have a lot of female founder friends. I think the biggest thing to get through all these struggles and stuff like that is we empower each other. We talk about it. We vent about it. Knowing that you're not alone and you're in the same boat is huge.
Right.
I have actually a female founder friend, which that's the biggest thing, is helping each other out too, doing introductions when you can, and just keeping them in mind for everything. Anna, I'm going to do her a little plug for her today because she actually just was texting me, but she owns a company called Tag It, also female founder. And basically you can, if you like something when you're watching it, you can tag it and buy it.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, she's like a phenomenal person and founder. And so having those friends around you that are going through the same things and also can help push you through is really, really important. But raising capital is hard in general.
Right.
Funny male or female.
Yeah.
But it's harder for us.
Sure.
And so it's...
Well, hear me. Joseph just said this to me, by the way, maybe 2 days ago. We were talking about fundraising or raising funds rather, and he said that even for men, silver hair goes a long way in capital raising or raising capital. And I'm like, well, there we go. So it's not just also about the female. Then you also have to deal with the ageism aspect of like, how do I know? So
being a young female.
So you had 2 strikes against you.
Come on. Like, it was like, are you here for... Oh, my gosh. We were actually standing outside of an event that me and this other female founder that we were the panelists on. And I just hit this because I'm getting so passionate. That we were the panelists on. And a guy walked by with a drink and goes, here, can you throw this out? Thinking that we were like the waitresses.
Wow.
And we were like... Well, we just spoke on the panel at the event that you're at. The fact that he didn't even look us in the eye, like...
I feel a movie. I feel a script coming on.
Right?
Here, these seem to be all the elements of a really good...
I would love a female founder-driven film.
Just that's... I mean, I know we have some of it, but that, like, I just feel like that I can just see that scene in my head. Like, the chick, like, excuse me? I mean, you know.
Yeah.
No, for sure. So, one other aspect, and then I'm going to hand it over to her a little bit, but the closing the funding gap for female founders requires male and female VCs, and that just spoke to what you were saying. So you felt you had to have that male counterpart for them to kind of take you a little bit more serious?
Well, you want to hear something funny? Is I started getting more meetings as soon as I had males on the emails and stuff, or taking the lead. 100%. 100%. And it was just mind blowing to me that I needed to have that.
Right. But you know what though? You did, because you now spend a lot of your time mentoring other women in founders.
Yep.
Not like you said done with Cinematcher, but what you continue to do. I think those experiences though do keep you aware. And I'm just going to say this because it's easy for a lot of people to say, okay, don't take this the wrong way. Okay, white girl.
Yep.
What really have you gone through?
Right.
I mean, I say that like
100%.
we all go through a little bit of the school of hard knocks. I can't talk today. Oh my gosh, somebody give me some medicine. Yeah, that's crazy. I'm glad to see that you have though managed to still, now you're a hustler. And I mean that in the most positive admiration, ways. You have been somebody, like you said earlier when we met, you had just moved to LA and you were like, anybody want to come hang out for my birthday? And I knew you were in film,
Yeah.
And I was like, I will.
Yeah.
And we met for her birthday to celebrate her birthday.
Yeah.
We were 2 complete strangers. We met at the Rose in Venice Beach.
Yeah, because I was in Venice when I first moved there. Because actually, my founders,
story.
See, people think I'm fake when I say friends, not followers. People think it's a joke when I go out there and I'm like, I want to be a friend.
Who
not
thinks
everything.
that?
People will think that. I'm not, it's like I don't have a list, but I know genuinely that people will say, oh, okay. And, I'm so thankful that some of the most amazing relationships in my life have come through either Facebook or Instagram. And I just do not discount the Now, you can meet crazy people too. Don't get me wrong. Do your research. I Googled her first. Don't worry.
Did a background check.
But I'm so glad.
And you had reached out, I think over Instagram, right?
Right,
and
right.
then I think it was at like around or a little bit before that. I think at Sundance, and then I think we had talked about an event or something. And then when I moved here, you reached out because I had posted a photo. Was like, hey, I'm in LA, which was also amazing. I'll say with social media, I had so many people reach out that I hadn't known, that were just like, hey, I've kind of been following you and what you're doing. Like, do you want to get coffee or wine or whatever?
Right.
And even females in the film industry,
right, absolutely,
stuff
absolutely.
like that.
And then you work with my husband now from time to time, and we work together.
He brought me a film that I'm still like really, really working heavy on. That is, I think it has potential to do extremely well, and that came through the connection of you,
and it makes me happy when that happens.
That's beautiful.
Like it's the good part. So yeah,
that's amazing. Okay, so I have a couple of points.
Sure.
I know I have friends that are doing this, but I'm not doing this myself, so I have a lot of questions.
Okay.
Maybe you can help me understand.
Totally.
So I'm going to play the devil's advocate for a little bit.
Okay. I'm
So,
scared.
no, don't be scared. So let's talk about the history of women funding successful high revenue businesses, right? So if, say, a little girl out there is really trying to become an entrepreneur when she's older.
Yep.
She goes on Google and she Googles, what are the most successful companies in the past decade?
Yep.
And you find Facebook and you find Instagram and you find Slack and you find Airbnb.
Yep.
And then you go to like the founders and they're
see
all
who
men.
went- yeah.
Right? So then it can either go one way or the other. One, she gets discouraged because she's a girl.
Yep.
Or two, she goes and see that the process that they've been taking. So a lot of like Facebook, before they went to VCs, they raised all their money themselves and then went in with actual results, right? This works. Airbnb works. People are actually booking people's houses to stay for vacation. So do you think that
Like how do you
explain this? Like
how do we get that representation and that encouragement to these young girls to
yeah,
encourage them to go down that road? Or
yeah, because I feel like we as women, we have to prove ourselves a little bit better to create a history of successful women.
Yep.
But
Right?
see, there have been, and I think that we got to take that back. Sorry, I know I jumped in, but I will say, like, I always have to remind women,
Yeah.
we were queens, Cleopatra.
Yeah.
There are
Yeah.
people that we have in our history. Now, it's not to say that for some reason that seems to get downplayed a lot. But I mean, and we still have a queen in England. We still have monarchies that
Yeah.
exist, and they're women. There's a lot of
Powerful women.
women. We have it in our history. We've created it. Joan of Arc. We have, Cleopatra. We have,
Well, you want to hear, I mean, this goes into the entertainment realm, and I think this is one of the most important things because people don't understand how, and it's so funny, I just posted this on Cinematcher's page today, but people don't understand how important representation in the media is. It's so important. I posted this as when you finally see someone who looks like you on a bookshelf or on a television screen or in a movie theater, it is very profound effect.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And it does, because when you're seeing an example, so I am a part of a lot of groups. I go to a lot of talks, all this stuff, like Gina Davis Institute. They're doing phenomenal stuff for female representation.
Right.
I think it was actually at one of their talks that I heard all these statistics, and I was like, this is phenomenal. The year that movie came out with the animated movie with the girl that was like an archer, was that called Arrow or something?
Arrow, yeah.
I forget.
Arrow.
That year, the statistics shown that the most like little girls were buying bow and arrows and becoming like archers and stuff. Like, that's phenomenal. You're affecting an entire generation.
Right.
They also touched upon shows that were all little girl scientists. It was like an animated show. I forget what it's called. I wish I remembered all these names, so people could actually go watch them. But and that year, like, the most little girls were starting to take like science classes and stuff like that in school and being interested in high school and stuff like that. So I think we need to shift our entire culture, which is hard, and it's why it's taking so long, but it shouldn't be that hard. It really shouldn't. To me, it's frustrating that it is this hard. But if we have people like us that are having shows like this and pushing empowerment and showing, the younger generations that you can do whatever you want and you don't get stereotyped into like you have to take, home ec, because even in high school, like, that was the thing that we like all like took home ec. Like, it's so weird to me now that I think of it. I was like, sewing class? Why the hell was I not taking a business class?
Right.
Like, why wasn't I taking a class? Like, I didn't even know about finances and business until I discovered everything for myself as an adult.
Right.
Why wasn't even in my brain?
Right.
And I was like, where's the disconnect in our culture that never came up for me until after I graduated?
Right.
Yeah.
The class you wanted to take was not the one where you were making the apron. It's where you were selling the apron.
Exactly.
Teach me profit margin. Teach me manufacturing.
Cash flow, everything.
Exactly.
How to raise funds. Even taxes. I mean,
Yeah.
I want to learn. I had to learn the hard way through a lot of stuff with that, like corporate taxes, LLC, personal versus whatever. Why did I not? This is a fundamental thing to survive in our in our
Right.
society, and nobody knows what the hell. They're like, here, do our taxes, whatever. They don't even know what's going on.
Right. We are taught
We're taught
to be
blind.
Yes.
Too.
It's funny. Yeah, no, even my older daughter, when she's, moved out and became 18 and became an adult, and she got her car, she's like, wait, I got to pay registration every year?
And credit scores.
I was like, she's like, what is this? I'm like, oh yeah, you got to register. You got to pay that every year.
Yeah.
Every year. She's like, what?
Yeah.
I'm like, and yeah, I mean, even my son, I mean, he's 14 now. He's the next one due to leave the nest. And I'm like, come out. We need to start sitting down and talking about investments. We need to start talking about what
I love that.
move. I really want them to have an understanding, because you're so right. And this goes for boys and girls. They're not teaching them in the school the things that we really need to know
to be successful.
Exactly, because the more you know, the more powerful and instrumental, and you can pivot those.
But I think that's why the system is, not to get political at all,
right?
But I think that's why the system is made a little bit like that, because that's why there's only 1%, right? It's because they don't want everybody just like.
Yep, there is going to be the haves, and there will always be the have-nots.
Yes,
there has to be, for some reason, there seems to have to be a first and a second class, and I don't like it. But anyway, so what was your next point?
Wow, that was a lot of information.
Yes, sorry.
Good.
Okay, so I think, our history, like I was saying, our history of being successful, aside from Cleopatra, our history of being successful in a man's world is not as big as a man's history already, right? Because it feels like they started the race way before us.
Well, that was another problem. The history books,
right?
There was no powerful female. Like that's we weren't taught.
It's been written out. Like it's been there. It just hasn't.
The curriculums needs to change. Like somebody needs to go out and just focus on the educational system and just change the entire curriculums.
Yeah, can we have somebody with experience do it?
Please do it for us.
Agreed.
So I like that you say, did you say you never had a bad experience with a female VC?
No, I never have. Every single female VC or angel or anybody that I've ever met has been so supportive, and we still talk to this day. Even they didn't invest. Like if they didn't invest, they're still supportive, and they're still like, hey, this is a person that might be a good introduction for you. They don't have to do that. They're so supportive, and it's just so different working with other females, because I think they get it, and they probably went through the same thing, and that's why I like to mentor women when I can, or advise other companies when I can, because I wish I had somebody doing that for me. I'd be so much further ahead.
Also the other thing that I think women don't think about is that what one woman does, it affects all of them. Like for example, everybody knows what happened with Elizabeth Holmes, right? In Theranos.
Yep.
That was the craziest thing. And now, obviously, a woman's going to go in there trying to do the same thing. They're going to be like, no, because you're obviously pretty psycho like Elizabeth, and we're not going to give... And, they gave her
so
10
you have to,
billion
for the audience,
evaluation.
give them a little bit of context.
So Elizabeth Holmes is... she founded... Theranos. And basically, it was a consumer healthcare technology startup. She was incredible with... funding. She actually raised $700 million from venture capitalists and private investors, resulting in a $10 billion valuation. Now we all know what happened with that. It was complete scam.
Right. Yeah, it was very fraudulent. Everything was done very fraudulent. And she's now looking at prison.
She basically was lying to investors of what they were building and doing.
Yeah, it was all about one drop of. They only needed one drop of your blood to test you for all these things, but. Basically, she was sending all that stuff to another lab that was actually doing what they do in the labs. Anyway. But so stuff like that, I think that it really hurts us as a whole.
Yeah, well, and I agree, but it's so funny though. Well, this is like another thing about men versus women type of thing and how we're being represented. Because in the media, even because it was like a whole big thing. But you know how many male founders did stuff like that, and we never even heard about it.
Right. Yeah.
So it's like why that?
Well, it's sad,
new.
and it's sad to think because
I mean it's absolutely unacceptable. And
right. No, I mean,
100% illegal, and it should have been a huge story.
well, I feel like that whenever somebody fakes cancer, it's like I always feel like that same hit of like, oh, now you just messed it up for all of us,
Right.
like, or somebody else who needs an assistance.
Support
I don't like that.
and
Yeah, and you see, that there's, as we've know, all of us, and I'm sure this is going to go on for quite some time. The death of Kobe impacted our world in many ways. One of the things I thought was very heartbreaking is you saw the support he gave his daughter. I loved how his daughter was like, he don't need a boy.
Yes,
I
yes.
got this.
Yep.
So what you saw him doing this, I hope that a lot of those male NBA players start, they continue that he built, because I feel that him and her together would have really changed the way the WNBA starts. 100%. Currently, I think there's such a huge, the girls starting off in WNBA make something like $75,000 a year, whereas an NBA same ranking starts off in the millions.
But my question is there, like, again, playing devil's advocate. This is not personal. How much do women sell as many tickets as men?
So that's the problem. I think to me, and I don't know the numbers. This is just what I'm thinking, but it seems like with a marketing publicity background or whatever, it seems like there's probably millions and millions of more marketing dollars going to promoting the men, because it seems like the WNBA to me isn't as promoted as much.
Right. Yeah, right. Yeah,
So
you
it's
barely
kind
hear
of like,
about it.
I think that if we put the same resources as we do for the NBA and the WNBA, but I don't know. I could be totally wrong on that.
Hey, I'm just gonna say it. I've grown up in an area when it comes to sports, and I know we're not trying to like go down a rabbit hole. We don't mean to, but I grew up in an era where girls were not allowed in sports like that.
Yeah.
Where women sportscasters were not even. And if you saw one on the TV when they did first start coming on, you heard the men. Why am I looking at a woman telling me my sports and all that? And so there's this, I think to some degree, there's this concept of why would we want to see a bunch of women playing basketball? I don't know. Why do we watch a bunch of grown men play basketball?
Right.
It's the game. It's the intensity. It's the strategy that we're looking at.
Right.
And a woman is capable of that. I get it. They're not going to be the size of Shaquille O'Neal, but I'm cool with that.
Right.
I don't think anyone
just show me a skillful woman.
Yeah.
Right. So I thought that was
I think
another
female
sadness.
sports is a whole nother
Right.
nother thing that needs to be tackled.
But when we talk on the
no pun intended,
more I meant, the disparity, the disparagement that takes place. I say that that's more of like the female male comparison again, and then also that almost is like, well, you as women don't bring enough value. But these numbers with the founders and venture capitalists, they that's not true. Women do bring value, and I think any woman looking to start a business out there, I think the key things to starting a company is whatever you are trying to sell or make, do they need it?
Yeah. And well, so here's the thing, and this is why I think female founders are so much more successful, is because one major thing is we have so much more to prove, because it took us so much harder to get to the point where it might just be one meeting for a guy whose dads worked together at Morgan Stanley and he got investment or whatever it is. Doesn't happen all the time. That does happen though. Where for us it took 5 years and like going up and down and like being depressed and then being like, is this a bad thing that I'm doing? Should I go back to the corporate world? Like so many 1,000 different things that can affect you negatively. And when you get to that point, you're like, oh my God, I finally accomplished this. I'm going to kill it now.
Right.
And you had all that time to plan leading up to that.
Right.
Exactly.
Too.
So do you know who Kirsten Green is?
I do not.
So Kirsten Green is a VC. She's but she was nominated by Times Magazine top 100 most influential people of the year. She is a VC.
Yep.
And so she says, I would be lying to you if I said that there's no sexism in Silicon Valley where I work, right? It's just like, it does, but I feel like I go in there every day trying to prove myself that I'm smarter, that I'm better, and then this, and all of a sudden, like 10 years have passed by, and that has literally helped me be who I am now.
Yep.
If she didn't have that
struggle,
kind of struggle, then she wouldn't have been like that. But she also said something that I really like, and I think... obviously we all have our own opinions, but she said, somebody asked her, do you invest in women purposely when women are trying to come to you? And she said, we invest in the best entrepreneurs. We don't invest in males or females. We invest in the right entrepreneur.
And I love that so much, which brings me to a point that I think is so important for everybody to hear. when we throw these events, these all-female events, or, you know, with founders and women empowerment events and all this stuff, and we've had this discussion a bunch of times, which my other business partner, you know, Veronica, who we bring each other stuff. We're super supportive of each other. She also, like, you know, one of my best friends, we had this whole thing instead of me too, we too, because the biggest downfall is we're throwing these events and we're like women only, and it's all it's just women, and that's just us talking amongst ourselves about what the problems are, and none of the decision makers that need to be hearing what we're saying are in the room. Right. And so we need to start inviting people that are actually can support us and make real change. And I think that's when you're going to see a big shift, when people start realizing that we can't be like F men and women only. It needs to be, we all need to be
working together. Yeah. And I like that the word entrepreneur is, it's not female or male, it just is.
Yeah, if it's somebody who needs to understand that it's a challenge. You know, we have such an idea of what entrepreneur is, and it's, you know, it literally is going after Moby Dick in a rowboat and taking the tartar sauce with you, because you just, and you're in for a fight. And anybody who's
such a fight.
Successful, I mean, that's one thing, you know, but I love that you know, I would imagine that for you, and you were, let's see, you were 25, 26. So it's funny. My intern was 23 last year, and we were handing out flyers for EmpowerCon, and he just couldn't get over the fact that I didn't care. I could go up to anybody and give a flyer. And he was all apprehensive, and he's like, and I'm like, listen, baby, if you can get over this fear of what anybody else thinks about you doing it, you're going to be successful. So I agree. What's your moment? You're getting ready to take a meeting. What's your game? What's your, you know, are you looking in the mirror doing the Donnie Wahlberg thing? Or Mark Wahlberg, rather.
It's so funny. So I'm a very organized person, and I'm somebody that I get super stressed and flustered, and, you know, like, can fall off my game easily if I'm not organized and know what's like happening and what the whole game plan is. So I always like research whoever I'm meeting with 100%. I want to know everything about them, what they like, everything like that. And then I also I'll write pretty much out every point that I want to hit.
Right.
So and almost practice it like I'm giving like a speech, but it's just a meeting. Right. But I want to be so overly prepared, because a lot of the times in the beginning of entrepreneurship, you're so underprepared. You don't know anything. You're just learning as you go. That, you know, you learn, which is a good thing, because then you learn those tools as you go on, that to be overly prepared for any hole that they're going to poke in your business model, for any hole that they're going to poke in, you know, your marketing plans, your strategy, whatever. So I think it's important to really know who you're meeting with, 100%. And then know what your game plan is, because I see so many people go into meetings and are just like, well, I'm just going to wing it. Which sometimes, though, and I always see men do this, and they just wing it, and they don't even talk about, like, the business model, and they get funding. I'm like, they just broed out. Like, so,
the Laker game.
It's so funny. It's so funny. But I think as females, we need to bring a little more.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to be prepared, and really, really know the hard questions that they might ask, because they're way more privy to ask you hard questions. Because, again, I've sat in rooms where I've heard them interview the male founder and ask them what college did they go to, and they said they didn't go to college, and they're like, oh, ha, like laughing, and they're like, then the same investor goes to me, what college did you go to? I said Ramapo, and he goes, don't tell people you didn't go to an Ivy League school. I'm like, this the MF just said that like, he didn't even go to college, and that he's like, and why aren't you the CEO? I mean, it's crazy.
But but you've been able to succeed, and I applaud that. I mean, because for the listeners, like, you handled the marketing strategy also for Comic-Con in San Diego, in Los Angeles. These are events.
The LA Comic-Con. And that's Company X that I help business strategy for. And Ariel Stepp and Brian Lucy, they're the founders, and I mean, they're just absolutely phenomenal. Ariel really, really ran and knocked LA Comic-Con out of the park.
Yeah, it was
and I was grateful enough to like help with that, and we're doing some really cool other stuff. But
That's great. Yeah, I mean, it's such a big event. It's people, the culture. I was this panelist actually. Yeah, and that was kind of cool. I was like, I was invited to speak at Comic-Con,
which is awesome.
Yeah, I mean, well, it was just kind of cool to have the hookup from my friend for a pass, but then also have like I'm a presenter or whatever.
Yeah, no, that's a huge deal because I forget the numbers, but it was something like over 200,000 people come. That's a huge con to be on a panel on.
Absolutely, 100%. All right, well, I hope you're ready. Oh, go ahead.
Before, just for all the women that are listening, stop being so agreeable and start asking for what you fucking want. Just start asking for what you want.
Yes,
stop being so agreeable, please.
That is
just
so
go
important.
in there and be like, I want this and this and this and this. Numerate it. Go in there with all the confidence and just. I'm very passionate. I'm gonna keep doing this. I don't care.
No.
So that's my advice, and I'm sure you can say the same thing.
100% agree. That was one of my biggest downfalls when I started. I was so nervous and being like, "Can I please have money to pay for my business expenses?"
Right.
Where a male founder would go in and say, "I need this money and I want a condo and a car."
Right.
And you're like, "What?"
Yeah.
But I'm like, "Can I just have money to get by?" And like, no. Then I started going in and being confident and being like, no, this is a good thing that you're going to make money off of.
Exactly.
You want to be involved in my situation.
Exactly.
So, you know what? Very true. I remember when I was promoting EmpowerCon. So when I did EmpowerCon, for people who know, the event that I held at the Los Angeles Convention Center in August, it was a one-day empowerment event. We're doing it again this October. I fully funded the event. And I didn't actually have time to go out and get sponsors, which I know you were trying to help me on. You're like, Aalia, this year we're taking it different. But my thing was I wasn't going to wait around for people to do it, right? I wasn't going to wait. But I will say, like, the process of, I mean, just going out there and saying, okay, this is what I'm going to do. This is why I'm doing it. And nothing's going to hold me back. Like, that was empowering in itself.
Yep. I mean, you pulled off an amazing event. I was so grateful to be part of it. To see you... To have the conversation with you and have you talk about it from day one when it was nothing, to see it in fruition and be a part of the end result was really awesome. So congrats and kudos on that. And I'm definitely excited to be part of it.
Yeah. No,
Going all the time.
for sure. Okay, we have some rapid fire questions for you.
You can breathe now.
Just some... The rapid fire questions seem harder.
Well, you got to go fast, okay? Just say what they're meant to go fast.
This is the part we might have to edit out.
Say a word in Spanish.
Hola.
Last Halloween costume.
What was? Oh, I was Bernie from Weekend at Bernie's.
Love it. With the sunglasses?
Yes.
Cake or pie?
I'm not a sweets person, so that's
pie.
A hard one.
Because you could probably do like a savory
I wouldn't
pie.
do either, but I guess I would if I had to.
Yeah.
Sorry, that wasn't a quick one.
What's your ideal outside temperature?
80.
Nice.
Oh, okay. So you
I like
it
it warm.
hot. Yeah.
I like it hot.
She like it hot. How many cups of coffee per day?
0.
Wow.
I don't do any caffeine.
She got all this energy.
That's the problem. That's why I don't do it, because I think I would
jumping up the walls?
I would be nuts. Yeah, I even tea, I do decaffeinated.
That's so funny. I never knew that about you. Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Well, we really do appreciate you coming on and sharing some of those experiences that can't be easy. That's what I meant to say. I know. You were like, oh, what about the editing? I knew I lost my train of thought and I was just trying to wing it. But like, you've gone out there and still continue to make an impact. And, you've had these experiences. I love seeing what you're doing in the industry. I'm excited for what more is to come. And just thank you for being here today.
Yeah,
where can our
having
listening
me.
audience catch you? What's your
so I mean, you can find my website, Cinematcher, at cinematcher.com. And we sadly had it. I mean, as part of entrepreneurship, development setback that we were hoping to launch this year at one of the festivals that, like a Sundance or something.
Sure.
And we had a setback, and now we're full force development. So our beta's still out there. We're not pushing it too hard because it's basically closed.
Right.
And we're just trying to build our 2.0 platform as quick as we can, but as good as we can. We want it to really, be helpful for the industry. So you can find us at cinematcher.com and sign up to receive updates of when we go live with 2.0.
Sure. And your Instagram handle?
At Lauren Magura, and then at Cinematcher.
So LAUREN MAGURA.
Yep.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah,
Thank
thanks
you, Lauren.
for having me.
That was fun. I liked it.
Well, everybody, thank you for joining us for another episode of Unsugarcoated with Aalia and Alex. Please don't forget to subscribe, to rate, comment. You can
And share this episode with anybody who's needing it.
Yeah, for sure, please. And then also you can reach us through www.unsugarcoatedmedia.com or our Instagram handles. We love you and appreciate you guys. Thanks for letting us be unsugarcoated. Bye.
Bye.
You've been listening to the Unsugarcoated podcast with your hosts, Aalia and Alex and Alexandra Checa.